just very predictable. Nothing out of the ordinary, no imagination. I mean, to Craig's point, Nunez, I mean, Man United, I think, were about 15 yards from the goal line, and he managed to get himself offside then as well. And I kind of, when I saw that, I thought, oh, it's going to be one of these, certainly for him. But just in general, there was no imagination in their play. Listen, from back middle to getting to the final third,
yeah.
I mean, they were completely and totally in control. But after that, predictable. You know, we talk about Anthony coming on his left. Salah was doing that all day as well. Luis Diaz was trying to drop the shoulder and come inside on your mate Dalot and kept losing the ball. And as Craig said, Nunez, you know, he does prefer it when there is some space in behind, which there wasn't because Man United was so deep. So, look, at the end of the day, when you've had so much of the ball and you get to the final third as many times and as regularly in the 90 minutes as Liverpool did, there's a reason you pay Salah, Nunez and Diaz the big money. And that's to produce. And it's okay to say, well, they were deep and they had men behind the ball, but you don't get paid an expectation of winning the Premier League or the Champions League. That sort of excuse doesn't really get you a pass. You didn't produce when it mattered most, and you have to say that and be honest about it.
When you're looking at a couple of games when we could maybe argue or debate that Szoboszlai has been their best player this year, right? And he's had 2 or 3 really quiet games. He was poor, not poor, he was quiet at Crystal Palace. And even today, his passing and was just a little bit off, and the timing of his passing, his runs, and I think when that's happening, put it one way, I don't look at that Liverpool midfield 3, certainly not this 3, and I know it's not their best 3. I don't think this is going to carry them to the title. I mean, I know they've got players to come back in, but that 3 in particular, as a 3 ball in there, I don't think that's going to work for them.
When I've asked you in the past who is more likely to catch City, you said Liverpool over Arsenal. Does this sort of performance change that?
Well, yeah, because they're going to be coming up against, on a regular basis, defences that will try and do what United do. And you have to be able to break them down. And they've shown in this game that they couldn't do it. But again, I'll go back to my main point, where I think Liverpool's biggest problem will be, is defensively they give up opportunities. You know, to have... I mean, I think the stats said Liverpool had 70% of the ball. It felt like 80 or 90. But the fact is, if Højlund has got some composure and figures it out, Man United take 3 points from this game. And that's, again, that's just the honest truth. So the fact that they couldn't break them down, the fact that they are still giving opportunities away, means that, for me, probably Arsenal edge Liverpool and City.
I tell you what, though, give him a lot of stick and a few of these players, and I think deservedly the United players, that is. He annoys the hell out of me, Anthony, and 1 or 2 others with their attitude and their sort of the way they swan around.
He's Mr. Nice these
But
days.
I tell you what, fair play to him though. He could not. Any of those guys, Garnacho, who's a youngster, he's going to work hard. All these guys are, even Anthony, working back. All right, final third going forward in the second half. I think he picked the wrong ball a couple of times, like Stevie said. Right. Otherwise, Liverpool could have been in more trouble. But he worked hard for the team. He got back. He made tackles. He had good shape about him. All those things we were not saying. Some of these guys were swanning around. And if we're thinking about the stories that floated around, and we're floating around about Ten Hag's lost the dressing room, he certainly hadn't lost that 11 today. But he had 2 centre-halves who are, I think John Champion in commentary said, I think 199 caps between them. He had 2 centre-halves that know how to defend. Yeah. Not going to run away for anybody. And if you're going to try and play a high line, then Johnny Evans is screwed. But they weren't never going to play that game at Anfield. They were going to sit in the edge of their box. And Varane, who has been out the team for whatever reason, I can't answer that question, him and Evans defended crosses and defended and blocked extremely well. But getting Luke Shaw back in recent weeks as well has been huge for him.
The key for Ten Hag is to keep this lot at the standard of attitude that they showed against Liverpool. And if they do that, then they've got enough ability where they will win more games and get themselves up the table. But the problem is, if you play for one of the big guys, it's not about having a good attitude away at Liverpool or home at Liverpool or at Man City. those are games that should be a given. Because if you're not up
It's
for a
home
game
against
like
Bournemouth.
that, it's home or away against Bournemouth or Brighton or Crystal Palace or whoever it is. That's when you have to show that type of attitude. Because if you do that, because you have the extra talent, that will get you points.